Hello everyone, Sableye here and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to jump into things with the Regulation F tier list, with the format officially becoming legal tomorrow at the time of my recording. And we're just going to jump immediately into it, guys. And to be completely honest, I am going to just breeze through some of the less good mons so I can have more time to talk about some of the mons up top. But Venusaur, this thing's going to be incredibly niche, guys. Absolutely nothing going on over here. It just doesn't feel like it does quite enough anymore. Just not there. Same with Charizard. It's probably just trash. I'm going to get so much heat for putting Charizard in trash right at the start of this video. But I don't think it's good right now, guys. It's definitely not fitting into the meta at all. Blastoise, I'm going to go incredibly niche. I never thought I'd have Venusaur Blastoise above Charizard. But here we are. I think Blastoise at least has something going for it with like Fake Out and Water Spout. But at the end of the day, it's still, they're probably all just bad, guys. I'm going to be honest. Raichus are bad. Arbok bad. Sandslash is bad just because I don't think Hail teams are going to be very strong in Regulation F. Regular Sandslash bad. Clefable, I'll put incredibly niche because it does get some cool things like Unaware and Follow Me. Ninetales, I'll go incredibly niche because, like I said, Hail is going to probably be bad, especially with the return of Incineroar. However, it is the best Hail setter we have, so if you're going to use Hail, Ninetales makes some sense. The other Ninetales, I'll leave them beside each other just for the sake of leaving them beside each other. Wigglytuff bad, Vileplume bad, Venomoth bad. I feel like a broken record. I'm just chucking all these Pokemon to be bad. Persian gone, Persian bad, Golduck. Okay, Arcanine is actually a weird one, right? We all know about the story of Hisui and Arcanine. I'm gonna leave it in needs to be explored. We all know this thing won 6 regionals in a row just a format ago, but why it's just not around. And what I want to say about this is before Entei and Incineroar became around, right? Arcanine was that. It was an offensive fire type. It could also be used in a passive way with the Intimidate, start cycling things down. But now it's that weird in-between element, right? When you didn't have either of the fast or the slow options with the fire type slot, the weird in-between element kind of worked. But now if you're looking for like a very strong balanced fire piece, you're just using Incineroar. It is the better piece than Arcanine in my opinion, especially at cycling around being that bulky intimidator fire type, right? And then if you're looking for hyper offense, like those choice banded variants on Arcanines, I mean, Entei is just better at that. You can't get faked out, you can't get it intimidated, right? So it's just in that weird in-between point. It probably needs to be explored a little more than it is. I just think right now it definitely does not belong anywhere near the top of these rankings. Regular Arcanine, bad. Poliwrath bad. Victory Bell, all you Victory Bell believers are going to hate me, but it's bad. The Golems are bad. Slowbros are bad. Dodrio's definitely bad. Same with Dugong. None of these guys are good. I'm leaving Muck in bad, guys. I'm sorry. Really, I'm not, though, because people are going to be like, oh, but you can use Minimize in Power of Alchemy. It's not good. Just don't do it. Anyways, you got Cloyster in bad. Gengar's probably not there. Hypno, unfortunately, not good. Monkey Dory, bad. Goldengo, I feel like it's dropped off because of the usage of Lando Eye. So right now I'm going to wait and I'm going to leave it. It needs to be explored. I don't think it's an amazing mod at the moment, but if Lando Eye starts getting dealt with pretty well, I think Goldengo sees usage. It has everything it needs to be a really good mod and probably should be seen at some point in the metagame. Wo-Chen bad. Shenpao, going pretty good. I don't think it's amazing, but it's definitely a strong option. Ting Lu I'm going to put in needs to be explored. This mod was absolutely dominant when it became allowed. And then last format, it just had fallen off. Obviously, Urshifu is a huge problem for it. But I think with the likes of like Lando Eye, you know, and you can hinder those special attackers really, really well right now, I think Ting Lu is a cool ground type option to have on your team. So I don't think it's like amazing, but I think it needs to be explored a little bit more. Chiyu, I'm going to go pretty good right beside Shenpao. It's one of those mods that, once again, just has the tools it needs to be good. I feel like you're just going to want to run instant anyways. I'm a big fan of the bulkier dark fire type. But if you're looking for those big offensive outputs and outbursts and stuff like that, Chiyu definitely is a good mod. Roaring Moon I'm going to leave in needs to be explored. It was a mod that saw a ton of usage at the end of Regulation E. Just doesn't quite get it done in this format. But I think there's chances maybe with like a Dragon Dance variant, because it does still have decent stats and can do some decent things. So I don't want to just completely sleep on it. Iron Valiant bad. Walking Wake, I'm going to put in pretty good. It's probably a solid option, but I think because it doesn't really function outside of Sun, I don't want to put it in solid options or meta defining because I'm not sure how strong Sun is going to be. Sun is going to be strong, it's just not going to function on its own without that designated sun mode, and because of that, I'm going to leave it in pretty good, but it is an incredibly strong mod. Honestly, anything from meta defining to needs to be explored, you can probably get away with on a team, and a team's going to be able to function pretty well, right? Obviously, everything else below that's just incredibly niche or bad, but electrodes are bad, guys. I'm sorry. Same with the walking wake. Sorry, not the walk. Excuse me, iron leaves. Same with the iron leaves. Unfortunately, the bottom of this list is going to get cut off, so I'll try to put the newer ones up around here somewhere. Diplin is bad. It always has been. Sinistra, I'm going to go incredibly niche. I feel like if I'm going to use a redirecting grass type, I'm going to be using a Moongus to resist Fluttermane, or I'm going to have the Ogerpon right now. I don't think it actually surpasses that. Obviously, it has that niche ability in the hospitality to heal up the rest of the team, so I'm not completely sleeping on it, but I don't think it's amazing. Once again, I think Okidogi as well, incredibly niche, just has that guard dog ability, but it's just, I don't think it's enough. I just don't think it's enough. Pheasantipity is bad. You cannot convince me otherwise. Ogerpon, all forms, I'm going to leave as solid options. Obviously, I can't break up the forms. You're probably looking at Ogerpon Water and Ogerpon Fire in the top here. And then you're probably looking at pretty good or needs to be explored for Cornerstone and the what's the other one? The regular grass one is probably what you're looking at right now. I mean, it's a really strong piece. It's got the tools, it's got Follow Me. I think Water Fire surpassed the other two by far, but I only have one of these images here, so we'll go with that. Now, Archaludon, I'm going to put in pretty good. It's one of those ones where it probably needs to be explored, because I don't think it's an amazing mon on its own. Once again, it's similar to that Walking Wake. With the rain, with the setup that it can potentially get, it has the capabilities of being incredibly strong. But without that, I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot working against it right now. But I do still think it's a very good mod, and if a team is not ready for it, it is going to be able to steamroll you. And because of that, I do think it, like, I think naturally it's a good mod. I just don't know if it actually works out in practice. But I'm gonna leave it in pretty good. Hydrapple, I'm gonna put on needs to be explored, just because if I put it in trash, people are gonna yell at me. And I don't really want to get yelled at. So here we are. I don't think it's amazing. I think there's some cool things you can do. But I just think overall, if I'm going to use a grass type or a dragon type, I have better options. So I'm going to leave it in needs to be explored. Probably doesn't work out for me very well, though. Gouging Fire, I'm going to once again means needs to be explored. This mod has seen some usage. It's got some Howl shenanigans. It's got cool things like Dragon Dance, Breaking Swipe. There is options for it. We haven't really seen a team break out and say, yeah, Gouging Fire is the correct Pokemon on this team. But I am very, very confident in the fact that that's actually going to happen. I think it's a really strong pick. Raging Bolt, you guys knew this one was coming. I think this is going to be by far the most meta-defining mon we've had in a long time. It is incredibly strong. If you do not have options into Raging Bolt, you are probably going to lose to a Raging Bolt. You need to have options into this thing, and anytime you need to have an option going into a Pokemon, to me, that is meta-defining. That's what I'm defining it as. I need to have an option. I need to have a way to beat Raging Bolt on my team. That Pokemon alone, meta defining. You got the Calm Mind variants. I've seen a few Choice Specs variants. I don't love those. You got the Booster Special Attack variants. You've got a lot of options with this piece. It is incredibly strong. Iron Boulder definitely needs to be explored a little bit. I think there's room there. Obviously, anytime you have an attack that can go right through Protect, that is genuinely good. Right, that is good. We've seen it be good for years with Urshifu, right? And anytime you can have access to something like that, it definitely needs to be looked at. Iron Crown, I'm not sold on Iron Crown size spam yet, guys, okay? I'm going to leave it in pretty good. It's seen some decent results. Obviously nothing like incredibly crazy right now, but with Portland coming up this weekend, I'm very intrigued as if it will be able to hold up at a regional level, because obviously we see it in these online tournaments and it gets those results, you know, but it's like, I don't know if it holds up at a regional level, but I'm very curious to see if it will. But right now, I'm going to leave it at pretty good, because I do think, genuinely, it's probably pretty good. Okay. We've got Alolan Executor, trash, and regular Executor, probably just trash right along with it. I don't think they have enough good things going for them, so they're going to be, they're not going to be there, unfortunately. Hitmonlee, same thing. It's just not there, guys. Same with Hitmonchan. They're just not there. Weezing is incredibly niche, because it does have that niche with its ability. Other than that, it's just terrible. Rhydon bad, Chansey bad. Electabuzz, incredibly niche. Magmar, incredibly niche. They have the niche options, but it's not something that's like, oh yeah, we can throw these on and we can roll. All three Tauroses are just bad now. They just get outclassed. I guess all 4 Tauroses if you count the original one as well. Gyarados is... I'm going to go Gyarados incredibly niche. Lapras bad. Ditto bad. Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon bad. Snorlax, I'm going to go incredibly niche because people like Snorlax and I don't want to get yelled at. It's not good though, guys. It's probably just bad. Galarian Articuno, this is a Jamie Boyd mon. It's going to go in trash unless you're someone like Jamie Boyd who can somehow find a... You know what? Incredibly niche. I'll put it in incredibly niche, okay? Articuno, regular Articuno, bad. Galarian Zapdos, incredibly niche because you do get some pretty cool speed things. And then you can hit some... You get a cool speed too. You get to go Scarf on it. After Anti-Intimidate, never realistically bad. Zapdos, incredibly niche. Moltres, just bad. Dragonite, I'm going to stick with pretty good. It does a very good job of breaking Fire, Water, Grass cores. I don't think it's one of those mons that's like... You throw it in, you don't think you can really throw it on certain, like on every team, so I think it's just a pretty good mon because it kind of needs the right team to function. But on the right team, it's definitely really strong. Meganium is trash. I apologize to the Meganium lovers. Both Typhlosions, in my opinion, are just not good. Feraligatr as well, just not good. Furret bad. Noctowl bad. Ariados bad. Lantern bad. Ampharos bad. I feel like a broken record right now. Blossom bad. Azumarill incredibly niche. I don't think it goes past that. Sudowoodo bad. Politoed, it's the best. We have Pelipper. It's just completely outclassed. I hate to say it. As a Politoed lover, it's bad. Jumpluff, I think, has a niche, especially with Sun picking back up in usage. I think Jumpluff has a niche. That's all I'm not going higher than that. I'm not going higher than incredibly niche for Jumpluff. I don't think it's amazing, but I think with Sun picking back up, you might see it. Sunflora is bad. Quagsire is bad. Espeon, Umbreon are just bad. Murkrow is completely outclassed. Both the Slowkings are outclassed, so I'm going to set Trick Room. I'm going to set Trick Room with either a Cresselia or a Porygon 2. Fortress is bad, always has been. Gramble, bad. Quillfish, bad. Scizor, incredibly niche. I think it's got some cool things going for it. You know, anytime you can go Bullet Punch and pick up a high usage mon like Fluttermane, there's a niche there for it. I don't think it's amazing, but there's a niche for it. Heracross, bad. Ursaring, bad. Macargo, bad. Delibird, bad. Skarmory, Houndoom, Kingdra. They're all just not there, guys. Donphan, bad. Porygon 2 I want to talk about. I'm going to put it needs to be explored. Because at the end of the day, it does need to be explored. I think there's something there for it. I wouldn't necessarily call it pretty good. It probably ends up being pretty good once players find teams and compositions that actually work for it. I think there's definitely usage there. I haven't seen it too much, but I do think it's got that chance. You know, Eviolite, Trick Room stuff, really strong. Really strong Trick Room starter when you need it to be. I just don't think it's as slappable as any of the other mods. So it definitely still needs to be explored, but it's definitely got an option. Stantler, bad. And Smeargle, this is the only mon that's trash that I'm actually going to talk about. It is not a good mon right now, but it used to be. Now, whether or not it has the ability to become a good mon again, I can't see it right now. I just think it's so Anyways, random ad, but anyways, like I said, Smeargle, it has the usage that it doesn't have the bulk anymore to really do things. It's only going to get 1 or 2 attacks off. Before it was like, oh, you could put things to sleep, get some moody boosts, be a nuisance. But the high-powered format right now just becomes too much for this thing, and it just doesn't get enough turns to capitalize on really what it wants to do. Hitmontop, it's just bad. I hate to say it. Blissey's bad. Raikou, I think, is incredibly niche. It does get Electro Webs. It does have fast inner focus. It's that fast electric type, so I'm not going to knock it. I think it's a really cool mon. Entei, I think Entei goes in solid options. This mon is incredible. You can go AV mode. Once again, you can be super offensive with like a Choice Band or a Life Orb beside the Shenpao. You can go bulky with the Assault Vest. You can maybe go Citrus Berry Howl. There's tools here. This mod is incredible. You can't get intimidated. Sacred Fire is an incredibly strong move, especially in a physically dominated format. I like Entei. I think it's definitely strong. Suicune, I'm going to leave it incredibly niche. It is really bulky, and it's really good at being bulky. But it really needs to be paired with a lot of hyper offense pieces. So I feel like it doesn't really quite get everything you want it to. T-Tar. T-Tar is probably... I'm going to go incredibly niche because it is the best Sand Setter we have. Sceptile is just bad. Blaziken is just bad. Swampert's just bad. Mightyena bad. Ludicolo bad. Pelipper's niche. Actually, no, Pelipper needs to be explored, I think, because I think rain teams, like beside the Archaludon and stuff, they're seeing some usage. I haven't seen a team that's like, yeah, Pelipper really makes a lot of sense here, but I do think it's a very good piece. Once again, I think it's once if you find the piece, if you find a team for it, it's a strong option. Gardevoir's just bad. Masquerain bad. Breloom bad. Slacking bad. Hariyama bad. Sableye bad. Medicham bad. Minun Plusle bad. Just everything here. Okay, Torkoal's actually kind of good. Torkoal's good just because Sun is good again. I'm going to leave it in pretty good. In fact, I'll put Pelipper up there as well right now. Just, they're the weather setters. If you're going to play Rain or Sun, these are the two you're probably going to want to use. So I think because of that, they probably classify as pretty good. Right? I think Sun is going to be strong. Rain with Archaludon is going to have an option. It's going to see its usage as well. So I think both of these two are probably ending up pretty good. I'll retract my previous statement. Grumpig bad. Flygon, guys, I'm sorry, Flygon believers. It's just bad. It always has been. Cacturne bad. Altaria bad. Zangoose bad. Seviper bad. Yeah, you know what? Long story short, I probably should have just not ranked these and just skipped over them. But you know what? Here we are. Melodic, Banette, Dusclops. Dusclops, I'm going to go incredibly niche. Once again, it has that spot for it. Tropius, gone. Bad. Salamence, once again, incredibly niche. It does get Intimidate. It does resist the Water Urshifu really, really nicely, which is never a bad thing. Metagross, once again, I'm going to put in needs to be explored. It's so early in the format. We've seen Metagross somewhat peak in usage, but is it really right for that slot? I don't know. Either way, Metagross needs to be explored. I think it has potential to be really, really good. It's built to be a good mon. It's always been a good mod in most formats it's been allowed in, so I think it has the potential. It just needs to be the right team, needs to be explored a little bit more in the metagame right now, in my opinion. Okay, the Latios are just good. Latios and Latios are both jumping into pretty good. There's no way you don't. They're just pretty good. You know, you got the Latios, that's bulky. It is able to live hits, gets your tailwind up passively. And then you have the Latios, which is the more offensive of the two. And you can just do some pretty good damage. Obviously, Luster Purge and Mist Ball both got buffed to, I believe it's 95 base power now. And that's really, really incredible for them. They get that good special... Latios gets the special attack drop, and Latios, I believe, gets the special defense drop as well with those signature moves. So there's definitely some cool things going on there. They're really good mods. Torterra bad, Infernape bad, Empoleon bad, Staraptor bad, Luxray bad, I hate to say it, Rampardos, Bastion are just bad. Those are like, Rampardos and Bastion, those are the mons you use for content, you know? Like, yo, check out this Bastion team. That's what I'm going with. Those are the mons you use for content. Vespiquen bad. Pachirisu, I have to put it in incredibly niche, because if I don't, I'm going to get a bunch of comments like, oh, Ryan, it won Worlds. It's niche, guys. It really doesn't go farther than that. It's just bad. Okay? Floatzel bad. Gastron, incredibly niche. I think there's better options than it right now. Ambipom bad. Drifblim bad. Mismagius, Honchkrow, Skuntank. Bronzong I'm going to leave incredibly niche because it does get cool things being a Trick Room setter, have Iron Defense body press tools, so it's maybe something. Spiritomb bad. Garchomp bad. Lucario bad. Hippowdon bad. Toxic bad. Lumineon bad. Abomasnow bad. Bad. These are all just, they're all just not it, okay, guys? I know I'm kind of going speedy, but they're all just not it. Porygon Z, I'm going to leave an incredibly niche. I think there's maybe a spot for it. You're gone, you're bad. The Lake Trio is just bad, guys. It just never has been good. It always just seems to get outclassed. Heatran, I'm leaving an incredibly niche. I never thought I'd put Heatran in an incredibly niche tier, but it's just not where it once was in this metagame right now, and it's going to be questionable. Cresselia is, once again, I'm probably going to go needs to be explored. It's a very good option. I just don't think it's going to be right beside P2, and it's really going to be, the concept here is they need to be explored. The Trick Room teams need to get explored a little bit more to figure out which Trick Room setter is actually better still, and because of that, I'm going to leave them right beside each other here, and I think that kind of does them justice for now. They are both, in my opinion, good, but it's a matter of finding the right team for them in this format. Superior, guys, it's going to be incredibly niche. If I put it in bad, I'm going to get yelled at, so I'm going to leave it incredibly niche. Emboar's bad. Samurot's just bad. Zebstrika's bad. Excadrill If you're looking to use sand, maybe incredibly niche. It does have that thing where it's like, oh, I can swap in sand, be faster, and kill Fluttermane, which is somewhat cool. So maybe there's a niche there. I just like Excadrill. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. Conkeldurr bad, Leavanny bad, Whimsicott. Whimsicott's good. I'm gonna leave Whimsicott. It needs to be explored. Just because I think Tornadus is a little bit better, and by a little bit better, I mean a lot of bit better, because like I'm just not dying. There is some cool things Whimsicott gets, but it needs to be explored a little bit more before I can call it like truly good. Lilligants are just niche on Sun teams. It's really just, are you looking for the Sun, right? So I'm gonna leave the Hisui. I'm gonna leave the regular Lilligant bad. Hisui and Lilligant's probably better than it anyway. So regular Lilligant's outclassed. Bad. Basculegion's bad. Croak is bad. Scrafty's bad. Zoroark's bad. Minccino, or Cinccino, sorry, is bad. Gothitelle is niche. It does get the trapping ability, so you can't complain. Anytime you can trap something on the field and take away an element of the game from them, it's never necessarily like a full-on bad thing. So Gothitelle is probably niche. Reuniclus is bad. Swan is bad. Sawsbuck is bad. Amoonguss is really good. Amoonguss is a solid option. I don't think you're ever going to go wrong with just having an Amoonguss on the team. You're definitely not. Alumamole is bad. Galvantula is bad. Eel is bad. All this stuff is just bad, guys. Like Chandelure is bad. Haxorus is bad. Beartic, Cryogonal, Mienshao, Golurk, Braviaries. They're all just not it. As much as I want Mandibuzz and Hydreigon and all those cool mons to be good, they're not it. Now, Volcarona just recently won a tournament. So, like, I have to put it... I'm going to at the very least put it needs to be explored. I'm not sure if it was just, like, one of those early format things where Volcarona was able to successfully get rid of things, you know? And it was able to do things only because it was early format. I'm leaving it. It needs to be explored. There is potential there. You can go Quiver Dance set. You can go supportive with Will-O-Wisp and Flame Body. Rage Powder. There's tools there. It has the tools. It needs to be explored. It needs to find that right team, right synergies for it. But I do think there's options. Like I said, I can't sleep on it because it has already won one of these pre-tours. I think the Cobalion, Terrakion, and Virizion are all just bad. Tornadus, I don't want to call it meta-defining. I think it's a solid option. If I were to call it meta-defining, it just doesn't feel right because, in my opinion, Tornadus is good because it enables the meta-defining Pokemon. It enables these other pieces of strong options, but Tornadus itself doesn't feel like the meta-defining mod. But it's only so good because it supports everything else around it so well. Yeah, it could be meta-defining. You could probably say either or for this. I'm going to leave it in solid options just because, like, it's one of those ones I have to worry about Urshifu in Tailwind. I'm not as concerned about Urshifu plus Torn. Torn itself doesn't scare me. It's Urshifu plus Tailwind is what concerns me, right? Obviously, the Torn is a big part of that core. But Whimsicott and Torn, in my opinion, kind of function similarly when you're trying to go up against them. Obviously, different typings and different ways to approach the matchups, but you know, I just don't think it's quite meta-defining. Incredibly niche for Thundurus. It has cool things. It gets Electro Web now, which is kind of cool. Just I don't think it's enough. Lando Eye. Never thought I'd put Landorus Eye up here in a solid option, but it is a very solid option. It is a wall breaker, right? It is that wall breaker piece. And that's what you're looking to get out of a Landorus Incarnate, right? That's that wall breaker that breaks that balance core, right? Ground poison coverage is incredibly, incredibly strong. It's a good piece right now. You can get away using it on pretty much any team. Chestnut bad, Delphox bad, Greninja bad. Talonflame's probably bad. It's been outclassed. Talonflame's one of those mons that's good when there's not a whole lot of Prankster Tailwind going around. It's just outclassed now. Vivillon bad, Florges bad, Go-Go bad, Meowstic bad, Malamar's bad. I could call it incredibly niche, but it's just bad, guys. Dragology, Clydesdale, Sylveon, I'm going to put in niche. I feel like it's just still not good, but I'll put it in niche. Halucha, bad. Gudra's, I'm going to give it niche, because if I put it in bad, I'm going to get yelled at. The regular Gudra's bad. Klefki, I'll put niche as well. Oh, I lost the Klefki. No. Oh, I found it. Okay. I clicked something and the Klefki fell off my mouse cursor. I was like, where'd it go? Trevenant's bad. Avalugg is following suit. I'll probably end up fast forwarding these parts, but Incineroar, guys, we know exactly where this is going. This piece is meta-defining, okay? Incineroar is one of the most meta-defining mons you will ever see. It is necessary, though, and a lot of people think when I say meta-defining, it's like an unhealthy level of usage. I don't think it is. Incineroar is a really strong piece. If you don't have answers to the getting cycled around, it is going to interrupt your entire game plans. It is going to shut you down. But it's a much needed piece because without the ability to pivot and without having those bulkier pieces that can cycle, the game literally becomes I'm going to send damage, you're going to send damage, and it's going to get really, really boring really, really fast, in my opinion. So having the ability to slow the game down as well with those pivot ability, with those pivot mons, is incredible. So I'm very happy Instant is part of the meta right now, and I'm happy to put it in meta defining once again, because it's going to be good again, guys. Primarina needs to be explored. It has a lot of good things going for it. You know, it beats those Incineroars. It has a pretty good special attack stat to hit spread water type coverage. Really, really cool. It can do some things. It needs to be explored a little bit more before I actually can truly call it good, though. Toucan bad, Gumshoe's bad, Vikavolt bad. All these things, guys, are just, a lot of these Pokemon are just bad. Araquanid needs to be explored. This mon could be up a little bit. I could give it pretty good. You know what? And I will. If you're going to go for Trick Room damage, it does some things. It puts on incredible amount of pressure with those water attacks. So I will put it there. Lurantis bad, Salazzle bad, Serena bad, Comfy. Actually, Comfy I'm gonna give niche, because I don't think Comfy is bad, right? Priority healing moves is incredibly strong, right? Maybe you go to Calm Mind up and then all of a sudden Draining Kisses or Giga Drains are just one-shotting Urshifu's before they can move. I don't know the calcs on that one, guys. Let's calm down before you start telling me that Comfy still sucks anyways, because let's be real, it probably does. But priority to healing is incredible. And I'm not talking like +1 priority. I believe Triage is +3 priority, which is incredibly, incredibly strong. Right, so I think it's ability alone from Comfy is going to be good. Oranguru's bad, Passimian, Palisand, all these guys are just bad. Mimikyu's niche. It's a niche Trick Room setter. I don't think it's great. Brux is bad. Komodo, I don't think it holds up anymore. I'm going to put it in bad. Rillaboom is very good. It's just one of those solid options. Not meta-defining, but a solid option. I will go back up to the top after and kind of refresh the list at the top just so you guys can see a better indication of it. Cinderace is bad, Inteleon bad, Greedent bad. Corviknight, I'm going to go niche just because it does kind of hard wall. It completely walls out the Lando Eye, which right now is pretty meta-defining, so having that option is pretty cool. Dreadnought's bad, Colossal bad, Flapples, Appletons, Sandaconda, Barraskewda, Tox, all these. Hatterene is good. Hatterene, if you're looking to get Trick Room up, it now has Expanding Force back. I will give it pretty good. Once again, it's one of those mods that probably ends up being beside Cresselia and Porygon 2. It really just depends on how strong these Trick Room pieces are going to be before it can actually do anything. Grimmsnarl is incredibly niche. Alcremie bad, Phalanx bad, Pinkerton bad, Stonejourner, Ice Cube. Indeedee really good. Indeedee, I'm going to put him pretty good. Once again, it doesn't need to be... we know what Indeedee does. It doesn't need to be explored. It's going to be good. The male Indeedee's bad, though. Morpeko. Duraludon is bad. Archaludon is good. Eviolite Duraludon may need to be explored, but I am not sold on Eviolite Duraludon. You're doing no damage if you're putting an Eviolite on it. I just don't think it holds up in the meta anymore. I just don't think it's good enough. Dragapult. This thing isn't bad. It is one of the fastest mons in the format, and because of that, I do think it needs to be explored. It might just fall down to incredibly niche, but it's probably pretty strong. Regieleki bad. I'll give Regieleki niche. It did day 2 and it did get second at Internets. Regidrago bad. Glacier bad. Spectre bad. Like, they're cool mons. They're good mons. They have stuff going for them. It just... They don't have that niche purpose anymore, in my opinion. I just can't justify throwing them up any higher. Weirdier bad, Cleaver bad. Both Ursalunas are good. I think they're solid options on Trick Room teams, but I'm gonna leave them on solid options because I think they are just good pieces. They are just good Pokemon. I could probably drop them down a tier, but I want to spread some love to some of the more solid options in the game. You know, you want to have those options. You're bad. Sneasler's bad, Quillfish is bad, and Enamorus is niche, but in my opinion, way too niche to actually be utilized. Meowscarada bad, Skeletor's bad. Oinkologne is definitely bad. Spidops has never been good. Lokix, unfortunately, is bad. Palmot's not good. Mousehold, I think it's outclassed, but I'll give it incredibly niche just for annihilate, beat up purposes. Darkspon's bad, I believe, a Squawkabilly. Garganical. Armarouge is probably fallen off to a niche pick instead of a more so good piece. It might need to be put into needs to be explored, of course, but we'll deal with that when we get there. Sarilege is just bad, sadly. Bellabolt, Kilowattrel, Mavestiff, Grafaiai. Bramblegash, it's going to incredibly niche. There is options for Bramblegash to be decent. It's incredibly niche. Toads, Cruel bad. Cloth bad, Scovillain, Rabska bad, Espathra bad, Tinkaton bad. Wugtrio bad. Palafin is bad now. It just got outclassed. It might be considered incredibly niche, but I just don't think it's good anymore. Revavroom bad. Bad. Orthworm is interesting. Once again, it is incredibly niche. I'm not going to put it in good, but I'm going to put it at the top of incredibly niche. It might need to be explored. There's been some rumors about Orthworm coming back, so I don't want to completely sell it out yet. You know, it's probably going to end up being bad. I don't think it holds up very well, but there's an option. Glimmoro, once again, it's very unique in what it does, so it's going to have that incredibly niche role. I don't think it's bad by any means, but on the other hand, Houndstone, Flamigo, Titan, Veluza, Dondozo is good. Okay? I'm going to put Dondozo in pretty good along with Tatsugiri. I hate ranking Dondozo high, but the fact that Dondozo can just be a playstyle on its own has seen success in the past, and I believe it just got top, like, first, second, and third in a tour last night as well. So, like, I need to consider it. I need to say it's been pretty good. There is always going to be room, in my opinion, for a setup piece like this, because it's that mode that can give your team that mode. You know, just have that secondary mode, have that mode that people need to respect. And the moment they don't respect Dondozo, all of a sudden you have those matchups where it's just, yep, I win this round. There's nothing they can do outside of maybe you getting crit, right? And anytime you can have those modes like that kind of like that cheat mode, so to speak, it's always nice to see. Annihilate needs to be explored. I don't want to call it good, but with Incineroar coming back, Annihilate has a usage, I believe. It should be coming back at some point. You should be able to see it. Clodsire bad. Farigiraf is good. Farigiraf is one of the better Trick Room setters. I'm going to put it a solid option as well. In my opinion, it's one of the best Trick Room setters right now. Just being able to stop priority. That way you can get in Trick Room and it can't cycle through Trick Room with fake out stuff. Incredibly strong. They try to kill the Farigiraf. You can recognize that. Maybe you just go helping hand into the partner. Pick up big damage. There's tons of rooms there. The Dunsparce is bad. King Gambit's good. King Gambit is good. It's one of those Pokemon that's just going to be good. I don't think it's a solid option, but it's a Pokemon that's always going to be good. It has the stats to be good. It's got Defiant. It can set up. It can be Assault Vest. Tons of options. It's a good Pokemon. Nothing else to say there. Great Tusk. I'm going to put niche option because, once again, Sun is coming back. I don't think it holds out in the metagame anymore, but with Sun coming back thanks to Walking Wake, I think maybe Great Tusk could see things beside it. Screamtail, I'm going to go once again incredibly niche. It's just one of those mons that has the stats to be good, just doesn't really do too much outside of the booster energy, disable Encore shenanigans. Brute Bonnet bad. Fluttermane is good, guys. I'm going to put meta defining for Fluttermane because it really truly is. I'll talk about it a little bit more in a sec, but at this point we all know Fluttermane. It's a good mod. Slitherwing, in my opinion, is bad. Same with what's this? I don't even remember what this thing is called. The Magnet dude, the Magneton guy. Sandy Shocks, there we go. It's bad. Iron Tread's bad. Iron Bundle. This is probably a pretty good mod. It might need to be explored a little bit more. Actually, I'll put it at the top of needs to be explored because it does need to be explored before I can realistically call it good. But being able to go that fast, hitting Landorus's, being able to Hydro Pump Incineroar if you actually connect the move is always pretty good as well, so it's cool. Iron Hands, see, here's the thing. People are like, oh, Iron Hands is falling off, and it has. So I'm going to leave it in pretty good at the bottom. It probably needs to be explored a little bit more. But it's a good mod. Historically, it was good, and I still think it's going to be good, especially for those players that just don't have access to the Raging Bolt since it is a Scarlet exclusive. I think having Iron Hands is still going to be a very strong piece in the metagame. Jugulus is bad. Moth is bad. Thorns is bad. Baxcalibur, unfortunately, I'm going to give it incredibly niche because if you are going to end up trying to run some sort of Hail Team, that's the mod you're going to run. So that's where you're going to go with that. Is Goldengo on here twice? Did I not already put this mod in? Yes. Oh, I'm just going to put it beside. Actually, I'll just bring it down to the bottom. I don't know why Goldengo's on here twice. But Goldengo's on here twice. Wochen I already put on. The Ruinous mons are already in here. I don't know why they're here twice, but I put them in. We talked about them. Roaring Moon, I feel like I already talked about as well. Valiant, yeah, I already talked. These were already on here. I don't know why they're on here twice. But this does allow me to put the second Ogerpon at the top of my tier list for pretty good, which is the other one, which is the rock and the excuse me, which is rock and what's the other one? Oh, just regular grass. Right, I knew that. I knew that. Okay, what else do we have down here? I think we got, yeah, we've got, oh, Lando T. Cool. And Lando T we've covered pretty much. I believe that covers everything. Lando T I think needs to be explored. I do think it's still a very strong option. but I don't know if it's enough anymore. Okay, so this is what the tier list looks like right now. Of course, you're only going to be able to see that. I can't, unfortunately, show it all on screen at the same time. So I'll scroll a little bit. But meta defining, you're looking at the Raging Bolts, the Insins, the Fluttermanes. And honestly, you could argue some of these Pokemon right here are meta defining as well. But saying a singular Pokemon is meta defining is very, very difficult. Normally, I'm going to do a popular core list as well at some point as well. And when that list comes out, there's going to be a lot more cores that are meta defining, because the Pokemon on its own just has answers to it, right? But when you start pairing things together, that's where things really start becoming broken, right? But on their own, these are the only three, in my opinion, that really exceed to that next level. Fluttermane can almost go down a tier. Lando I may need to go up a tier, right? Rillaboom and Amoonguss maybe up a tier as well. But I just feel like this is just the only three right now. Because like Amoonguss, I can try to cycle around. You know, I can slap a goggles on, right? Once again, if I don't have Amoonguss answers, I do probably lose to Amoonguss. So maybe it does go up. But I think a lot of these things at the top of this tier list are pretty interchangeable, but I think Raging Bolt, Instant, and honestly, I'm going to do this. It just feels like these two are really the only two that really dominate the format right now. I could almost say only Raging Bolt, so I could almost drop Instant. But like I said, I'm going to leave it up there. I don't really want to change too much late. Video's already gone on for 36 minutes, so we'll talk a little bit about this. I'm probably going to cut out some of the things where I just started chucking things into the bad tier, because you guys don't need to see that. But anyways, Ogerpon Water and Fire in this tier, and Ogerpon Grass and Rock in this tier down here. Walking Wake probably ends up being a solid option, like I was saying before. I feel like it has to have that Sun option, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? I just don't feel like it's slappable. Like, I feel like these mons, you can kind of be like, oh, I need a Trick Room Setter, oh, I can slap a Farigiraf. Oh, I need a Trick Room Sweeper, I can slap one of these two, you know? Whereas Walking Wake, it feels like it needs that Sun mode to truly function properly. And because of that, I feel like it's not slappable on any random team. You kind of have to have it built for it. But it's still a really good mod. Basically, anything up on, even on the needs to be explored tiers, as I said before, is just probably pretty good. Once again, I believe I kind of went over everything. The incredibly niche tier, I'm not going to really go back over, because like I said, I kind of covered most of these. But, you know, I honestly just genuinely think this is what you're looking at in the metagame. The laddies are really, really good. King Gambit's still strong. Size Spam probably needs to be explored a little bit more, but on its own, I think the mod is genuinely good. Yeah, let me scroll up a little bit just so you guys can see the entire tiers. But with that, guys, we're going to wrap up this tier. Oh, you guys can't see the top. Hold up. There we go. Okay, but with that, we're going to wrap up the tier list here, guys. Regulation F officially is legal, is the format we are going to be playing as of tomorrow, so I wanted to make this tier list for you guys. If you guys do enjoy this type of content, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel, and of course, I really do appreciate it. But with that, I'm going to get on out of here. I'm going to stop rambling about nonsense now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in a future video.